Alright, well, revolution of ideas. On the Science Channel this week, they've been airing a lot of programs about the future. And in some cases, even how the future is now. A lot of interesting stuff, and especially like with building materials, how you conceive of buildings, how you conceive of interaction with technology. And one of the big things that was pretty much common was that, the technology is here. The technology is, available to us. And what's keeping it away from people is, there's no salesman. There's nobody to, champion some of these ideas. So, like one of the things they showed was canvas as a building material, and in particular as a roofing material, but also really as a side. It's for buildings, all they are is a top and a bottom, and with a bunch of or it's like there are a bunch of pillars, and then platforms attached to the pillars, and then there's siding put on the sides. Well, what if you change the siding into fabric? You would save on a lot of materials. And the thing is, you get fabric which can withstand 60 tons of pressure or of tension. So, hey, and they were showing the Denver airport and how for the concourse is this huge canvas, which is just like, wow, it's very well put together. It's a very unique design, but it's also, it really works. It really does something. It really gives the building a unique sense. It lets in that natural light, which everybody, people like, and easy to take care of. And if there are any problems, hey, all you need is like a piece of fabric and an iron, So, and I'm of the opinion that God, these WalMarts which are popping up and are so big and this and that, why aren't they using this stuff? Why aren't they using fabrics? And they're also talking about this new cement, which has actually been around even in Europe for decades. It's called AAC. It's an artificial cement. It's basically you take same ingredients for cement and throw in a cup of aluminum and bake it, basically. So, and it's spongy. So you can take it's like a fifth of the weight of cement, but with all the same properties, especially when you put in the rebar. It's like, wow, it's pretty neat stuff. And what's more, you can use a hacksaw to, cut it up into, pieces you want. So there's a little factory for it down in Orlando, Florida. It's like, wow, need more of that stuff. And then the other thing was fabric, where they said, you can put in solar panels, and you can make parking lots that have these solar panels over them, or they basically have a sheet strewn over them, so it blocks out, most of the sun. Make the parking lot a little bit cooler, but it gets in all this energy, and that you use to convert into electricity for electric cars. Like, brilliant concept. It's like, man, we need that down here, or down where I live in the desert. And I said, as well, we got all this empty desert around us, guys. I've been writing letters to the editor of the newspaper, and they're going to hopefully publish. And I said, we got all this empty desert. Why don't we got like a solar panel plant, out there building stuff? Besides, Governor Schwarzenegger, he's serious. He really wants us to get rid of, old tungsten light bulbs and move to halogen and LEDs. Basically, which use a lot less energy and produce a lot less heat. Because we got some serious problems, people. We need to look to take care of it. Interesting thing that my dad mentioned, that a lot of states are kind of jealous of California, and the reason why is because, we got all these different things, but we're fairly efficient. We got our problems. We got some corrupt places or some poorly put together places, but the thing is, the state still runs, and the state runs pretty well. I'm going to Phoenix, and I'm thinking to myself, I wish that Phoenix would change, or would learn to lay out their streets a bit more like Los Angeles. because God, I get scared driving through Phoenix. The road, the Surface Street area is just nuts. But I mean, so these materials which are available. Oh, and then they were talking about heat sink air conditioners. You basically just bury a bunch of rods. It's like literally you take a bunch of you take basically the same material, the same parts you have for a refrigerator. Rework it, and guess what? You can cool and heat your house. Through just using stuff in the ground, and save like a lot of energy. It requires very little. Like wow, that's, hell yeah, that sounds pretty good. There's that, and there's like insulation, and I mean, there's all these things available, and it'd be like they're actually pretty cheap, pretty easy to get your hands on. And it's just that people aren't aware of them. So that's something. Like if you're going to build a house, well, make it a smart house. Make it like a future house. Something that just really will blow the socks off of people that check it out. Because on top of that, you save so much money, but you're also advancing the technology. They showed a house built with a fabric roof, and concept house. But they said, look, you can live in there. And the same with like technology. So, and the guy pointed out, like, look, well, how do you get all these? How do you make a smart house? Like, well, rather than have one company try to build everything, why not just have each company rely on the internet? And it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, you basically just create a website for your house, a website for each little item you have, and you can control things from from the internet like that. And especially now, since we're going to wireless networks, everywhere, everything's going wireless. Yeah. So that's amazing that we're getting to that point. Something else they brought up, and this is what I thought was really interesting, and what I think they really should explore and expand is they were talking about Robo Sapiens, and it's like this idea that, well, how is man? What can man do? What is the brain like? How can we integrate into machine, or have machines integrate into us? And they're talking about all these different things and ideas. By the way, if you ever wonder like why to do stem cell research, is like imagine this: somebody breaks their back, their spinal column, and there's the nerves, dies, breaks, stuff like that. Well, the nerves don't always grow back. And so, what are you going to do to fix that? Well, you get some cells and you grow yourself a new body part if you need it. That's why you have stem cell. That's why you research that stuff. But then they're also talking about how different parts of the brain do different things. They can put these electrodes. There's like the brain is something. It's something inside of a sack kind of thing. There's a layer of gray matter on the outside, and then there's more stuff on the inside. And when you peel back that stuff on the outside, you can get at the stuff inside, and that's the different parts that control different parts of your body or your behavior. And the way they said to approach it is, don't think, well, what is the exact part? Think, well, what is the result? And that's the way they approached deciphering the Enigma machine for the Germans. Is that, well, just listen to the sounds made, listen to what's being created, and that will, that's going to tip you off to what's happening. So they're looking, so you look at the brain and you look at what sort of signals different parts of it generate, and and that's what happens. And it's like, when a monkey moves its arm, it sounds like a bunch of snap, crackle, pop hisses, like right on top of each other. And that's because, it's not just one neuron that's controlling something, it's every neuron. And like really, it's like, well, how do you move your hand up? Like, well, you just think up and your hand moves up. Well, it's more than that. There's several things, there's several muscles moving, there's several parts of the body that are moving, and they all work in symphony, in concert with each other.